Hello ladies, welcome to my channel. In today's video, let's talk about how we can be poised abroad.
When you are traveling abroad, it is a great idea to research manners and customs before visiting. Doing this helps you avoid any major faux pas while you're away. Of course, you are not guaranteed against causing cultural offense, but at least you can try. I'm telling you this from experience.
So I think it's pretty safe to say when you are visiting a different country, you should abide by their rules. And I have the most cringeworthy story to tell you. Me and my husband recently, at kind of the beginning of the pandemic really, just before it started traveling over to the Western world, my husband and I went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And we went to the huge mosque there, the Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi. And I'm a content creator. I've seen tons of people getting photos there. I brought my camera and my husband and I went outside and he went to take a picture of me. And with the lens that he had to like get down close to the ground to take my picture. And the security guard ended up coming over and was like, no. And it was so embarrassing. And then I knew that you couldn't be touchy-feely with each other in a mosque. It's a religious place, but I didn't realize that not even men and women could touch in this place. And so I went to take a selfie with my husband and I put my, just here, on his shoulder so I could like get in close and take the selfie. They came over and they asked me to delete it and it was mortifying. So be clued up to the rules and regulations of where it is that you are going, because that was mortifying. I thought I knew, but I clearly didn't know enough. So it was such a lesson for me to do my homework in the next traveling situation that I go into like that. Now, obviously, if you're going on holiday, you are most likely going to be taking a plane, depending on where you're going and where you're originating at. So one of the things that I have been doing in my travels recently, as much as possible, is dressing nice. The last time I went to Canada, which is just in this past October, I definitely didn't travel in a manner that was as polished as I would have hoped for, because we left at like 2 in the morning and it was freezing here in England. And then by the time I got back to Canada, it was almost 24 hours later and you just feel gross and you look gross. But if you can, try to dress as appropriately and polished as possible. Maybe bring a change of clothes with you in order to freshen yourself up during your travels. The next thing that's going to allow you to travel in a little bit more of a poised way is being prepared for security. This is something where me and my husband, I feel like we excel at so much because he hates the going through security process. It causes him a lot of anxiety. So I find that because I know that and he knows that, when we're going through security, we've got everything prepared, because there's nothing worse than being stuck behind that person who isn't like this and, you know, it's just holding up the entire line. Are you that person that tries to sneak a full-size luggage into the the overhead bin? Don't be that person. Because not only are you taking the space in that bin from the other people around you, but usually you're struggling to get it out, it's falling on people, and it's not, I feel like to be poised also means that you're not somebody that is pushing the boundaries of something to get what you want. I feel like poised people will see that and understand that they just need to pay for extra luggage. I needed to pay for extra luggage when I was coming back to Canada. It's just something that I factored into the situation, and I feel like poised people grasp that. If you are looking at being a poised traveler, a chic traveler, a nice traveler, say hello to the people that you're sharing a seat with. I lucked out on my way to Canada this recent trip and I met the two most lovely Canadians, and they were headed back to Canada. They moved up to Scotland, they retired in Scotland, and they were heading back to Canada for the first time in 2 years. By the end of the flight, they invited me up to their place in Scotland and we talk on Facebook, and that doesn't mean that I monopolized their time and I wasn't aware to when we should speak and when we shouldn't speak. We all got our rest and we all still enjoyed the time being in such close quarters with one another. And I think that it all starts with a hello. My husband didn't have the same experience. He said hello to the guy that had to sit on this side of him, and the guy just was like, all right. And that was it. So if you want to have this experience go a little bit more poised and a little bit more smoothly, these are the people that are going to wake you up when the food trolley comes around. Say hello. Speaking of eating, are you that person that doesn't sit your chair back up when the food has come around and then the person behind you is having to eat with the tray basically in their face? Don't be that person. It's not very poised. It's not very thoughtful. Last but not least in the topic of flying, but watch your feet. I have seen so many stories on Instagram or TikToks where people will put their feet up on the armrest and then someone who's sitting in front of them will just see a bunch of toes. I feel like if you are somebody that is watching this channel, this is going to be something that is quite basic and I shouldn't have to tell you. So I don't think that this is you, but if you're the person that is on the beginning of your level up journey and you're looking at refining yourself and becoming more poised, this is something to think about. What about public transport? We've spoken about planes. Let's talk about the bus. If you don't know, I am Canadian and I now live in the UK, and I didn't exchange my Canadian driving license in time. So I'm in the process of getting a UK driving license. And with that being said, I take the bus a lot and it is shocking to me. And I can understand why sometimes people think that the bus is a little bit more of a lower grade experience, and I think it's because the people that get on the bus often act in these ways that I'm going to share with you in a second. And the bus actually is great. It's great for the environment. You don't have to pay for parking. There's so many benefits to taking the bus, but I think when you're dealing with other people on the bus, it really kind of brings down the experience. So let's get into some of those things. One, if you are getting on the bus, it is proper to let the people that are on the bus to get off of the bus first. Then when they're off the bus, that's when you enter onto the bus. Mind-blowing, right? Are you somebody that when you see an elderly person or perhaps a pregnant person get on the bus and there's no seats, are you the person that gives up your seat, or are you the person that continues to sit there? If you are the person that continues to sit there, it doesn't matter if you are a woman or a man. If you are someone who is able-bodied and you are somebody that can stand, you should be getting up and allowing the person who is older to sit, or maybe it's a pregnant person, allow that person to sit. It is a poised thing to do. I cannot tell you how many unreal conversations I've heard on the bus. I think that there's a time and a place to have a conversation. For me personally, I really refrain from talking on my phone on the bus. But especially I'm not going to talk loud on the bus or have it on speakerphone. I see this almost every time I get on the bus, and I don't know why people don't want their privacy, but it's something that maybe should be thought about. This next point drives me absolutely bonkers. Do you put your feet on the seat? I see young people, old people, elegant looking people, and not so elegant looking people do this, but they put their feet up on the seat. And if I'm going to work and I've spent all this money on my wardrobe and steaming my garments and lint rolling my garments, the last thing that I want to do is go sit on a seat that has just had someone's shoes on it when we live in rainy England. So for me, it's quite common sense to not put shoes on a seat, but yet I see it every single time I get onto the bus, and it's not a very poised or elegant thing to do. Have you ever personal groomed on a bus? I have to tell you, when I was younger, I definitely had done it a time or two, and it never went well, so I don't know why I continued to do it. Equally, it's just not very poised, so try to make sure you have done your grooming before you've left the house. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've got on the bus and I have seen somebody put their handbag in the seat next to them because they're trying to refrain other people from sitting beside them. You're on public transport. Public. And I've even seen tons of people kick off when someone asks them to sit there. And it it's bizarre to me. You don't have that right. And so I know we're living in strange times where I definitely don't want people rubbing up against me just as much as the next person, but do be mindful of the fact that it is shared seating on public transport, and just pick up your bag and let someone sit beside you. The last two things that I want to talk about in regards to public transport is eating on public transport. I don't know if this was just more of a Canadian thing, but oh my goodness me, when you would get on the bus and it's like everybody, it's like hot and it's steamy and it's the middle of winter, and then someone comes on with food, and then just all of those smells mingling is just not a good time. Don't eat on public transport. Try and do that before. I've said this in tons of videos that it's not very elegant to think of someone eating on the run. So equally, why would you want to eat on public transport? Unless you have a health condition where you need to do that, or maybe you're pregnant and you need to do that, try to refrain from it. And last but not least, have your fare ready. Just like we were talking about when you go through the security at the airport and you want to have all your passport ready and your boarding pass, etc. When you're getting on the bus, so we don't hold things up, have your fare ready, or have your phone that you need to scan in order for them to get your bus pass. Have these things ready so you're not holding up the line.
Your poise is much needed in this hectic and unmannerly world. Have comfort in your own convictions, even though they are not always easy to uphold. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. I hope to see you in the next installment of this series all about poise.